What's going on, everyone? Let's talk about Bitcoin. It's time to figure out, okay, do I have enough Bitcoin? The answer is always no. But a lot of people, we're in trying times. A lot of people don't have a lot of money to throw around. So that's why I was like, well, okay, I know I made a video talking about having 0.01 Bitcoin, but I understand $900, that's a lot for people. I get it. Let's bring it down a notch, because if you are in that boat where 0.01 Bitcoin right now is too expensive for you, I want you to understand it's not too late for you to still get some Bitcoin. Watch this. Let's work with a smaller amount of Bitcoin, okay? Let's look at 0.0025 Bitcoin. Now, that seems pretty minuscule. That is 250,000 Satoshis. That's a lot of Satoshis if you look at it like that. But let's look at it like this. Right now, roughly, because we're bouncing around 90K, that is worth $225 US. Now, I know that that's still kind of sizable for a lot of people, but you gotta think of it as like an actual investment. I mean, sure, we could just do $100 and, we could work with that. If you wanted to do 0.001 Bitcoin, that's $90 right now. You can do your own math with that. I'm gonna stick with the 0.0025 simply because I feel like while $225 is still, a decent chunk of change, I think that that's a worthwhile investment. And for people who seriously want to have some Bitcoin, I think they'd be serious enough to put that aside. And there's so little risk. I mean, there's like no risk to do that right now. It's not like, oh, you could lose it all. I mean, yes, you could. This is not financial advice. Like, technically, yeah, you could lose it all. But if you're putting it all in Bitcoin right now, this is like the one time when you won't lose it all. Let's look at the numbers. Here we go. All right. So if you went right now and you bought $225 worth of Bitcoin while it's priced at roughly 90K, you'd have 0.0025 Bitcoin. Well, let's look at this bull run and what it's projected to do. Plan B, along with other people predicting the price, but Plan B, he has predicted that the average price of Bitcoin during this bull run will be $500,000. Average, not the peak. That's not the high. That's the middle. That's crazy. I love it. Listen, he's not hyped up. He's simply looking at the charts, looking at the numbers. So let's listen to that number and let's say, okay, let's say Bitcoin gets to $500,000. How much is that 0.0025 Bitcoin worth at that point? It is worth $1,250. So if you think $225 is a chunk of change now, that much Bitcoin will be worth over $1,000 in a mere matter of months. Maybe a full year, but I think it's going to be months, especially at the rate we're moving right now. If it keeps going like this, now watch this. That's if we only get to 500K, goes to $1 million, well, you just double that. And that's $2,500. That's pretty good. But a lot of you are like, yeah, but that's not crazy. I mean, that's not life-changing. And I agree. That's not life-changing. But that's because you're being impatient. That's because your time frame is a little small. We're just now heading into this bull run. So that's not even a full year. What's the rule with Bitcoin? Or what's a rule with Bitcoin? Wait 4 years. You got to be patient with this thing. You got to let it like really grow. I mean, it's like a plant, It's not going to grow overnight. It'll do something, but, it might not be that noticeable. It makes sense. So let's look ahead into the future, and that's really hard to do with Bitcoin sometimes. I'm genuinely just going to throw a number out there. A couple numbers. So there are people who are hypothesizing that within 10 years, Bitcoin will hit $10 million. And I think that's accurate, but I'm not going to jump to the 10 million. I'm going to do the conservative case of like, let's say for some reason, things just really slow down with Bitcoin and it only makes it to 5 million within at the next bull run. So not this bull run, but the next one. So in 5 years, all right? In 5 years, let's say Bitcoin gets to $5 million. Keep in mind, I said 5 years. 5 years is not that much time. Like, think of how quickly you went through high school or you went through your undergraduate degree in college. Okay, that's 4 years. 5 years. That 0.0025 Bitcoin that you buy now for $225, it will be worth $12,500. Yeah, that's pretty nice, isn't it? That in 5 years, your $225 investment becomes $12,500. That, okay. Now we're talking some numbers, but now watch this. That's only if it gets to 5 million. If it gets to 10 million, your 0.0025 Bitcoin, your 250,000 Satoshis is worth $25,000. Do not underestimate the power of a tiny little bit of Bitcoin. Don't underestimate it. No amount is too small to get now. Trust me. I mean, I'm just a face on the internet to you, but I'm not the only face on the internet who's saying this stuff. Look around, search around, listen to what people are saying. I'm telling